So we need to now to check our validation error messages, and we have to show the error messages in our sign up or registration form. So when we click on a register, here is we have a sign up form, and in our register controller, control P and register controller. So we have a validation that we are validating our phone, country, state, city, postal, and logo. And before submitting the form and creating a user, let's check the validation message error messages, and let's uncomment, and let's to see how we can show and present the error messages on our sign up page. So here we will submit our form, and before that, here if I submit, so it will check the HTML required attribute. So we can have a check on our HTML submission, and we have a second validation on our controller login register controller. So through a Laravel validation. Okay, let's quickly remove the required field from our register form, register.blade.php. So control P and input your field. So here we have required, and let me remove for I have removed it for name, email, and confirm password. Okay, save it and come to your register form, and here we can now simply there is only one city and state. Okay, let's put some data and now remove it, and because these fields are required in HTML, so when I put submit our registration form, so you see these are the validation rule messages that we have set in our controller, registered controller. So these are only all the required field. So they are displaying under the name field is required, the email field is required, the password field is required. So that's cool. So why it is displaying here? So because we have error message displaying. Remember that every view has an array of errors, and we can iterate our errors, and we can use helper functions to find out our error. So because we are sending with the error name, field name, we and this field name we are setting in our validation rules. So every field name, remember that we have given that in our form. So we are accessing these. When they validate and not up to the required rule, so it will throw an error. So Rara will have this all the errors in a session array, and these array we can display on every view. So every view has an array of errors, and we can find our error. Suppose if error has is a helper function, and the array is returning from a validation after validation, so we are taking one of them, which is its which name is name. So if it's a name, so this is a bootstrap class help block and strong, and errors only from that error take first one, which name or whose name is name. And in the same way in the email, so from an array of error we are taking with the helper function has, and only taking email if error has email. If there is a email error of a validation rule, so display in a help block and only take the first one, only one bracket, which match with this email name. So that's what these are displaying in here. But we can also want that when in bootstrap styling, so when the span is method is shown here, and also this field be highlighted, and its border will be red or any that will be highlighted. And how can we can achieve it? We can simply achieve it in our div farm group. Because every field we have created in a div, So we have set it the farm group. So we need to use come here from name. Okay. So we need to use in a class farm group, and we will add helper error class has error. So if bootstrap is having a class has error, it will highlight the border around the field. So this border will be okay. So use the blade syntax, and okay. So if errors has name, and then we will use a ternary operator. So it is a if and else scenario. So we'll ternary operator and give the class name. If there is a name error with name which is matching, so it make, if it is true, so if it is true, so make the class has error. And if the condition is false, so colon, and if the condition involves the blank, a string, so we will string give a blank string. So if error array has a name with it, if it is matches, this condition become true. So display class has error in our class farm group, otherwise a blank string. So we can copy and paste it through all our fields. So copy it, and we can paste into our group, and we will change it to field name email, because we have a name email in the email, and password. So if the name is password, and confirm password, so we will set a password underscore confirmation. Okay. And in our, so in our country and state, we will not required. So in a city, paste it and change it to city. Address, post underscore code, logo. Okay, and remove the required field. Let me required from other fields. Control D, because we are just required a Laravel validation. Otherwise, it will not allow to put our submit our farm data to our root. So Control S to save. Come back to our register. So now let's submit a blank form. So click register. You see now we have a red text and a red border. So it displaying now the field are marked with red. So this they are displaying the error. So this field is required. The postcode field is required. Okay. So stay tuned.